Fortnite Chapter 6 is still months away from releasing, and yet we already know about movement mechanics, a possible theme for the whole chapter, and it was also specifically stated that we're not getting Blackpink in the game. Man, I was really looking forward to that one, but regardless, this still looks amazing. So if we can't have these guys, at least we're getting a permanent swing mechanic as part of Chapter 6. If you played back in Chapter 3, this will instantly remind you of the Spider-Man swing mythic, which was definitely a fan favorite, so I'm glad that Epic are finding a way to bring this back into the game without having to use a collab. Speaking of movement mechanics, we will also be getting a prone mechanic, which is basically a way to crawl into small spaces, and also you can lie flat while using guns like snipers. So it seems to be pushing for this further sense of realism in Fortnite, which a lot of people don't really like. Like, I'm sure if you're on Twitter, you've seen recently people are glazing Chapter 4's graphics, saying that even though they hated it at the time, it's actually way more colorful and vibrant than what we have right now, and you know, the usual stuff, like Fortnite's losing its charm. Chapter 6 will no doubt introduce some kind of enhanced graphic system, whether that makes it more realistic or more cartoony and vibrant, I guess we'll have to see. The long-awaited first-person mode should also be coming in Chapter 6, although we have said it's coming a lot, so just don't be too sure about that. And with all these improvements to gunplay, I'm hoping that maybe we can get some hit-scanned weapons back in the loot pool, but the chances of that happening are as likely as them improving the locker UI. It's not looking good. What is looking really good is the possible inclusion of an open-world game mode for the next chapter of Fortnite. Throughout this chapter so far, there's been hints of other worlds surrounding us, such as Midas going off to somewhere bigger, the wasteland coming from a nearby desert island, and also with the whole other galaxies thing teased in the Big Bang. Fortnite is hinting at this whole idea of expanding into new worlds, and I think an open world mode is the perfect way to do that, so it makes sense that would be next chapter, especially considering the rumored theme for next chapter is floating islands. Maybe we'll be able to travel to past worlds from the game's history, maybe that's how we'll go to Chapter 2 OG, or maybe we'll be able to travel to worlds with completely new narratives, like in my upcoming creative project. Okay, that's a bit of a shameless plug, but we basically made a story game within Fortnite, and it's coming later this year. Recent leaks suggest that a massive part of Fortnite might be making its return. The mesh of the abducteds from the Alien seasons in Chapter 2 have resurfaced. Some are speculating that it might be for the new Fall Guys mode on the island, where players will be able to enter a zone and turn into a Fall Guys character, or maybe this is for the return of the cubes in the Chapter 2 end event. And I'm also really interested in how the island flip at the end of Chapter 2 OG will correlate to the new island of Chapter 6. And if you want to find out, you should probably subscribe to stay up to date, right? If all goes to plan, the new chapter of Fortnite should be set to release on the 1st of December. That would also mean we would enter the chapter with a Winterfest event, which is hopefully less of a letdown than the recent summer one, because it seems like Epic are more focused on creating new modes and incorporating collabs into their metaverse than making summer events. For example, Reload and Pirates of the Caribbean took the spotlight, but I'm okay with that because we're still getting content. I hope this negative mindset doesn't continue into Chapter 6, but no doubt it probably will. The thing that I've realized with the Fortnite community is that it always seems to be there's some sort of issue. Sure, they're not wrong in saying that Fortnite's starting to get a bit repetitive with the yearly chapters and oh wow, this is going to be the one to save the game. Look, realistically it probably won't, but it's still going to be really cool, like every chapter ever has been. Chapter 2 was really refreshing, Chapter 3 was just an incredible start, Chapter 4 the graphics amazed everyone, and Chapter 5 gave us 3 new game modes which were fun while they lasted, and if it's not your thing anymore, that's fine. The main thing that I hope people will better understand going into Chapter 6 is that it's not going to be completely different to the previous chapter, and that they should still have their expectations relatively in check. Sure, be excited, but don't expect some game-changing, well actually it should be game-changing because it's a new chapter, but don't expect it to bring in like the OG level of players. That was a special moment and it doesn't have to always be like that. It doesn't mean the game's dead. It just means Epic might have a new focus, and obviously what they're doing now is working for them. Fortnite's still got a lot of players and is being talked about quite a lot. Even if it's negative, it's still publicity. Hell, I might even go on Twitter and complain that Blackpink aren't going to be put in, but Tim Sweeney doesn't give a shit. That makes him sound kind of like evil. That's not really what I'm getting at here. I'm just saying, if you don't enjoy the game, stop feeding into it, you know? There are parts of Chapter 6 that look amazing. There are parts of the other modes that look cool as well. I find Festival, Lego, and Rocket Racing fun at times, just not consistently, so I've found other stuff to do. And with Fortnite's whole floating islands model for next chapter, I gather there will be a lot to do within the one game. Tim Sweeney recently put out a post talking about how all the creative maps eventually are going to be seamlessly connected. Like, I can walk from into a tycoon to like an obby at the same time. It's like the Discover page is literally something you can just walk around in and choose what you want to do. Kind of like Epic's building this whole metaverse amusement park idea, but it's coming to life now. And that, I think, deserves some credit. That's actually a cool concept. I just hope people can give things a go before going into it with a negative mindset, and they can re-experience the things like the swinging and Battle Royale, whilst also loving all the new game modes and stuff that's coming alongside it. And with that being said, that's pretty much all we know about Fortnite Chapter 6 so far.